All right, so get this. Have you ever tried to explain to someone how to use an app, but entirely in words?
Uh, yeah, I can see how that would be.
No screen sharing, no
Yeah.
pointing, just pure painful description.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be a challenge, to say the least.
It'd be like trying to mime the internet. And that's basically what we're asking AI to do with tools right now.
Right.
And today's deep dive is all about a potential game changer on that front. ToolGen.
Yeah. So what's really fascinating about ToolGen is that it tackles this challenge head on by changing the way that AI actually interacts with tools.
Okay.
So instead of treating them as these separate entities, it actually integrates these tools into its very language.
So instead of the AI needing a translator to go from find me a cat video
Yeah.
to actually work in YouTube, this research is giving it fluency in tools.
Yeah.
Okay, color me intrigued, but how does that even work? Hit me with the tech.
So it's all about tokens. You're probably familiar with how large language models used tokens to predict the next word in a sentence.
Right, it learns the patterns of language word by word.
Exactly. So ToolGen kind of expands on that by treating these tools as unique tokens within its vocabulary.
Okay.
So now it can predict not just the next word, but the next tool to use in a sequence.
So if I ask it to find me a hilarious cat video, it wouldn't just get stuck in a loop of suggesting words like fluffy or meow.
Right.
It would actually recognize that the YouTube search tool is the next logical step.
Precisely. And here's where it gets really interesting. The research paper that we're diving into today shows that ToolGen can actually learn to use over 47,000 different tools.
Hold on, 47,000. I don't even think I have that many apps on my phone.
It's a massive range, and it really highlights how ToolGen isn't just limited to, these simple tasks. We're talking about a system that can interact with complex APIs, each requiring very specific parameters and inputs. So this isn't just about finding cat videos anymore. It's about automating tasks that require a lot of precision and flexibility.
Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah.
But if ToolGen can theoretically handle that many tools, that must mean it's really good at its job.
It is. In fact, the paper shows that ToolGen consistently outperforms other AI models, even some that are far more complex in their design.
Wow.
And what's even more impressive is how it achieves this level of performance. It really boils down to a three-step process: memorization, retrieval, and agent tuning.
Okay, so you're saying memorization, retrieval, agent tuning, and my brain is kind of picturing some sort of AI boot camp,
Right.
complete with montages and a training sequence. And
Yeah.
is that too much of a stretch?
Not at all. You can kind of think of it this way. First, ToolGen kind of dives headfirst into this memorization phase, rapidly absorbing the capabilities of each tool.
Okay.
So it's almost like speed reading through thousands of instruction manuals. It's getting a grasp on what each tool does and how it works.
So it's not just memorizing names, it's understanding functionality. Right. Like the difference between a wrench and a screwdriver.
Exactly.
Except, digital tools instead of hardware.
You got it. And then next up is the retrieval training.
Okay.
And this is where ToolGen kind of starts connecting the dots between a user's request and the best tool for the job.
Okay.
So let's say you ask it to find you a 5-star recipe for chocolate chip cookies.
Right.
It needs to know that the All Recipes API is the tool that fits the bill, not Wikipedia or Spotify.
So it's building a mental toolbox, understanding not just what the tools do, but when to use each one.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But how does it actually get good at using those tools? That's where the agent tuning comes in, right?
Absolutely. Agent tuning is the real hands-on portion of the training.
Okay.
This is where ToolGen actually gets to experiment in a simulated digital environment.
Oh, interesting.
So almost like a pilot in a flight simulator, it gets to practice interacting with these tools, inputting data, seeing the results, and kind of refining its approach.
So it's basically learning by doing, which I guess makes sense.
Right.
We as humans learn best by actually trying things, not just, reading about them.
Right.
But doesn't that raise a concern? If we've got AI out there playing around in a digital sandbox, how do we know it won't, I don't know, accidentally order 1,000 pizzas to a random address?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it gets to the heart of a lot of concerns around AI safety and control.
Right.
Fortunately, the researchers behind ToolGen were very aware of this potential pitfall, and they built in some safeguards. One of the biggest challenges with AI, even with like highly advanced models, is something called hallucination.
Hallucination.
Yep.
So, like, it's seeing things that aren't there. Like, it
Yeah,
starts asking for tools that don't even exist.
you got it. AI hallucination is when the model essentially makes things up. And in the case of tools, that could mean, trying to access or recommend tools that are completely fictional.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But how do the researchers, like, prevent that? Do they have some kind of, like, AI fact checker on hand?
In a way, yeah. They use a technique called constrained beam search.
Okay.
So imagine you're searching for a specific tool in this like massive toolbox.
Right.
This technique is kind of like having a filter that narrows down your options to only the tools that actually exist within that toolbox.
Yeah.
So it keeps the AI focused on real-world tools, preventing it from like, wandering off into the land of make-believe.
So no rogue AI ordering pizzas on my dime. That's a relief.
Right.
But all jokes aside, this is some seriously impressive stuff. Like, we've gone from AI barely understanding how to use like a single tool to it juggling thousands, all while avoiding like any fictional side quests.
Yeah.
What's the big picture impact here? Like, why should our listener be excited about ToolGen?
So this isn't just like an incremental step. It's a fundamental shift in how we interact with the digital world.
Oh.
Remember how we were talking about the frustration of like trying to explain to a chatbot how to like book a flight?
Right.
ToolGen is kind of paving the way for a future where those frustrations just disappear.
Okay.
Imagine a world where you could just say, hey, grab me a flight to Paris next month and make sure it has Wi-Fi. And your AI assistant just handles it.
Okay, now you're talking my language.
Yeah.
No more like wrestling with those travel websites. No more desperately trying to find like the cheapest flight at 2 in the morning.
Exactly.
Just pure blissful automation.
Right.
But let's say I need like more than just flights booked. What else does this open up?
Oh, the possibilities are pretty much endless. Think about like ordering groceries, managing your calendar, even like coding a website.
Right.
All of these tasks involve interacting with, these digital tools. And ToolGen kind of suggests that in the future, we might be able to do all of these things through, these simple, natural conversations with our AI assistants.
So it's not just about making AI smarter. It's about making it genuinely like useful in our everyday lives.
Right.
Like we're talking about freeing ourselves from those like tedious digital chores that like suck up all of our time and energy.
Exactly. It's about moving beyond just like, simple questions and answers and stepping into a world where AI can actually navigate this digital landscape for us,
Right.
allowing us to really focus on the things that truly matter.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready for an AI that can handle my to-do list, book my flights, and maybe even like write me a catchy jingle or two.
Right.
Though knowing my luck, it would probably try to like trademark the jingle for itself.
Well, there's always a next step. But jokes aside, this research does kind of raise an interesting question. If ToolGen can learn to use digital tools just by like reading about them, what happens when we start incorporating, visual interfaces or even real-world objects into the equation?
Now that's something to ponder. Like if
Yeah.
this is what we can achieve with just like text descriptions alone, imagine the possibilities when AI can actually like see and interact with the world in a more human-like way. That's definitely a future worth exploring.
Yeah.
But for now, we've reached the end of our deep dive into ToolGen. We covered a lot of ground today, from like the power of tokens to the importance of keeping AI, grounded in reality.
And we've really only just scratched the surface. If you're as intrigued by the potential of ToolGen as we are, we definitely encourage you to check out the full research paper, which we'll link in the show notes.
Until next time, keep those minds curious and those imaginations running wild.